I'm Oral Hershiser, and I am on the Blue Review. Hey, this is Sean Green. You're watching the Blue Review.
Hey, happy Monday morning. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. I'm Marcas Grant with Greg Bergman and Jeff Spiegel on a Monday. Happy week 2.
An undefeated weekend with a weird no game on Sunday, which I did not like. I don't like no games on Sunday. That feels weird.
Yeah, I guess that's the downfall of starting a season on a Thursday and not having it be a 4-game series. I don't know.
The Guardians played 4 games. I don't know.
They did.
And also, last week, the Giants and Yankees played on Wednesday, then didn't play on Thursday, and then played on Friday. And it was just a complete disaster.
Greg arguing for more than 162 baseball games. This is amazing. I've never heard anybody say there's not enough baseball games in a season. No. Greg Bergman the first.
Is this how you're going to start the show, Jeff? Is this how you're going to go in and just misrepresent everything I just said?
I'm just saying every Sunday for the next 9 months, we're going to have baseball. So maybe, you can enjoy the one that
before opening weekend, having a game on Sunday that just feels right in my world. Right.
The disrespect for the schedule makers here by Greg Bergman here to start the show.
Good morning to you too, sir.
We got a lot to talk about after the Dodgers sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks over the weekend, and they have pretty much all of the wins in the division minus 1. 3 of the 4 wins that the NL West has collected as a group belong to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we'll talk about that. Get you ready for a new series with the Cleveland Guardians coming to town. So we'll talk about that and more. But first, I want to let you know the Blue Review is powered by LAX. We are taking off. Learn more about all the incredible changes happening now at LAX by going to lawa.org/ESPN. So, Jeff, your takeaways from the weekend. I don't know that the Dodgers were always crisp. I thought Thursday night looked great. The offense kind of sputtered at times the rest of the weekend, but a win is a win, and it's great to start 3-0.
Yeah, they trailed 2-0 in all 3 of these games. It's worth pointing that out. It's not like they just came out and smashed, but the word that we keep using on our show, some people, I think Dave Roberts said that this team is relentless. We had somebody say the word inevitable. That one feels better to me. What this team is you look up and down the lineup, and at some point there's going to be a weak spot in the bullpen or in the starting pitcher getting tired or a defensive miscue. And whenever the weakness pops up, this Dodgers offense is going to be prepared to absolutely smash through it. The fact that they scored as many runs as they did, I think they had 12 runs in the 5th inning or later in these 3 games. And it was from all different people. It was Pages in the 8th spot the first night. It was Alex Freeland in the 9th spot the second night. They won all 3 of these games. Ohtani's 1 for 8, Teo's 1 for 10, and Kyle Tucker's 2 for 11. And yet they are just smashing teams. So I think that's going to be when this team is firing on all cylinders. Yes, the pitching is great. The bullpen has been awesome. But I think the offense is just going to feel like a tidal wave that keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming, and eventually the wall's going to break.
Jeff talked about some of these guys that you look at the numbers, right? I'm looking at this and you're right. Shohei is 1 for 8. Does have 4 walks though in 13 plate appearances. Sure. The Diamondbacks were not really all that interested in pitching to Shohei Ohtani. But you talked about this over the weekend, Greg. The new guys showing up. Kyle Tucker having a couple of big hits, including what turned out to be a game winner. Edwin Diaz with a couple of saves. Alex Freeland with a home run. It's nice to see the new faces paying dividends immediately.
Yeah, I agree totally with Jeff about what happened especially with the offense, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but at the same time, it is, inevitable was the word that I used over and over again. But the new guys came in. Alex Freeland, I thought, came in and showed power, showed pop, showed that he can just He also had on Saturday. He had a shot that looked like he was going to go out, but just fell short a little bit. But he has looked good at the plate and pretty decent defensively. Defensively is really where I wanted to go with these guys. Kyle Tucker he is an elite right fielder. I think we're looking at that. I mean, it might be a little. You're shaking your head there, Jeff, but he has made he made a bunch of great plays. I understand that the stolen home run wasn't the hardest of a home run to steal, but hitting the cutoff guys, hit a jump on a ball that could have easily gotten over his head. He just looked like it just night and day from what Teo was in right field last year to what you have in there now. I feel comfortable with Kyle Tucker in right field. It looks like a guy that's going to pay huge dividends on the defensive side. And, Edwin Diaz, I love the trumpets. I never thought I would say that. I was a guy, I didn't like trumpets, and I hated it when he was in New York. I thought Timmy Trumpet was stupid. I thought the whole thing was nuts. And then now I look at him like, this is awesome. I love it. Getting to get back-to-back saves and look really good doing it. Was very happy with the new guys over the weekend.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Tatiana Tate, who has been playing the trumpet live there at Dodger Stadium the last couple of nights. I don't know if that's going to be the thing all year long, if the team just puts her on payroll for 80 some odd games of the year, but it's been very cool. Also, side note to that, because after we see the first couple of Edwin Diaz, I saw the video of Mason Miller coming out of the bullpen, and it just didn't hit the same.
No.
It was pre-recorded. It just didn't feel the same with Mason Miller coming out of the bullpen.
There's also they're putting more LED lights around the stadium and that are not up and running yet. So that play, when Edwin Diaz comes up, it's going to get wild when they shut off all the lights like that. It's going to be quite the experience.
Yeah. Wow, looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. So, other than that, anything, Jeff, that has actually concerned you? I know it's 3 games. I know it's a small sample size. Freddie Freeman going 0 for his first couple of games before breaking out with 3 hits. But anything that you've seen that, maybe not great in his first weekend?
The only thing is Emmett Sheehan was the one question mark and concern. And this was kind of a storyline at the end of spring training for people that were still dialed in week 5 of the Cactus League stuff going on. But just that his velocity has kind of been all over the place. And we talked about this with Fabian Ardaya on our show last night. The first inning, his velocity was basically where it had been last year. And by the 4th inning, he threw a 91.2 mile an hour fastball, which is incredibly scary. I left a conversation with Fabian last night feeling a little bit better, because if it was an injury, he likely wouldn't be able to get up to normal velocity in the first inning and then lose it. So that was helpful to me. Obviously, if the Dodgers were thinking he ruined his elbow or something, they wouldn't keep throwing him back out there. Dave Roberts has said, I don't know why the velocity is what it is, but that's the only thing I'm just sort of keeping my finger on the pulse and trying to pay attention to is, what's the storyline around Emmett Sheehan? Are there any setbacks over the next few days? And when he does come back out, is he able to maintain velocity? But even that, he threw a bunch of changeups instead of his fastball. And I know the box score wasn't that great, but he struck out the side in the first inning. It wasn't like he looked completely terrible. So that's really the only thing that I'm paying attention to, because other than that, I thought the bullpen was going to be the quote unquote weak spot of this team, just because the lineup and starting rotation were going to be so good. And then the bullpen went out and it was 11 2/3 of no runs and 7 base runners and 9 Ks or something like that. So there's not a whole lot to nitpick from this group in the first 3 games.
No, I don't think so at all. I think the starting pitching, you mentioned Sheehan, a little bit wobbly at times, but otherwise the starting pitching I thought was solid. Yama in game 1 was outstanding. Tyler Glass now gave up a couple of runs early, but really kind of locked in and prevented the Diamondbacks from getting anything. And then you mentioned the bullpen came, it was lights out. We sort of expected it from Edwin Diaz, but it was great to see Tanner Scott, Blake Trinan, get some solid work in there. And Greg, Will Klein looks like, before the season started, just peek behind the curtain, we were talking about how many of the bullpen guys from game 1 would still be on the roster for the postseason. I thought one of the guys who might get bumped is Will Klein. Look, it's 3 games into the season, right? There's a long way to go. But Greg, after what I've seen from Will Klein the last couple of games, I might be willing to walk that back a little bit.
Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of confidence, and what he did in the World Series is just a confidence builder, and he looks really good. He's throwing pitches that he's hitting on some of his pitches that people didn't think he was able to. I think is the changeup is something that was a struggle that he was having a struggle with, and it looks like he's hitting that pitch now. And if he's being able to control all of his, I think he has 3 pitches. If he's able to control those pitches, then yeah, he can be in a not maybe not elite, but he can be a very good piece of that bullpen. And you know what he's like in big moments. You know when the lights are the brightest. You know he can go give you 4 innings in the World Series and give up nothing. So like if I'm really going to look forward to watching Will Klein for the rest of the season and seeing if he can hold on to that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked great. You mentioned him sort of finding some command. I mean, the curveball looks like he's throwing that for strikes now. Like he's getting looking strikes. And so once guys realize that you can get that pitch over, and then they have to attack it a little bit more. And that's when hopefully you can get some chase with it as well too. So very, very pleasantly surprised to see Will Klein stepping up in the first couple of appearances so far this season. Jeff, I want to talk to you about a thing you guys talked about on your show, and that is the continued evolution of Andy Pages. Yeah. We talked about Kyle Tucker and what he is defensively in right field. Would you say Pages is an elite defender? Has he become an elite defender? Is that too soon? But he seems certainly to be on that track.
Yeah, it's honestly a remarkable transformation that we've seen from Pages in center field. And kudos to him. Like the body has been changed. His approach has completely been sort of invested in, I guess is the best way to put it, in center field. We joked on our show last night. It's easy to forget how bad he was 12 months ago at the beginning of last season in center field. And I don't mean that as like he didn't care or he's incapable. Center field is a very different position to play than right and left because of how the ball comes off of the bat, and trying to get a read on it in a split second and then start sprinting. That's complicated, right? And he struggled with it. Like he looked really bad. He looked like a guy who hadn't played a ton of center field and was trying to learn it on the fly. But you fast forward to now, and I think he's in that conversation of one of the 5-ish best center fielders in all of Major League Baseball, which is nothing because center field's one of the hardest positions to play on the entire diamond. And so, you know, we talked, Fabian and I, last night about Pete Crow Armstrong, who's like elite defensively. Pages isn't that good yet, but Pages is a better hitter than Pete Crow Armstrong is, I think. And so when you look at these two guys, I think the way PCA is talked about as like this budding superstar who's going to be one of the greats, and he just signs this, you know, massive extension 4 years before he hits free agency. I think Pages belongs in the exact same conversation as him based on what he did offensively last year and based on the type of defender he's become. I don't think he's the best center fielder, but if you're talking about a guy who's one of the 5 best defensively at one of the hardest, most important positions on the diamond, and can be a well above average offensive player with some power on the flip side, like, yeah, I think Pages is a star in the making for Los Angeles.
I mean, it's amazing too that kind of a testament to this lineup that he's hitting so far down that lineup. Yeah. Because, you know, where else are you going to put him? But yeah, it's been really great to see his growth over the last couple. Remember early, was it Washington, or was it early last season where he was just in tears because he wasn't hitting, the defense was bad, he'd had a couple of really bad toot blondes, just some huge base running mistakes, and just was literally in tears. And then he got one of those famous Dave Roberts hugs, and that everything was right from then on with Andy Pages.
Yeah, we were comparing him to James Outman about like, oh, look, a guy that came in a year, had a really big year, a decent year, and then all of a sudden couldn't do it the next year. He was a mess last year.
Yeah. I mean, you look at like from March 18th when the season began to basically April 5th. So I mean, this is a stretch of like 12 games, let's call it. I mean, he had 3 hits out of like 40 plate appearances or something like that to start the season, on top of the base running that was a disaster and center field that was a disaster. But he turned it around. He had 1,000 OPS basically in the month of April after that. And so incredible turnaround by him.
He ended up with like 25, 26 home runs, somewhere right around there to finish off the year. It was a really good year. And now if Dave Roberts is saying that this is his guy, like pick to click kind of guys, if that happens to be, if it works, fantastic, because that just and then you can also have the argument of, hey, homegrown guy. Him
Yeah.
and Will Smith are homegrown guys. Just take that narrative and push it all aside. They are become superstars.
Yeah. Speaking of Will Smith, I mean, shout out to Will for having one of the just be the most perfect birthday slash bobblehead night ever.
Yeah.
His daughters throw out the first pitch. He ends it with a game-winning home run. So big birthday. Happy belated to the janitor, Will Smith as well.
Don't do it now. Don't do it, Marcus. You're putting it out there way too early in the season.
Wait, are we not supposed to be saying the janitor yet? Is that not?
That's a
Greg's nickname? I don't know.
I fight it. I fight it all over and over again.
I mean, he cleaned up over the weekend. I'm just saying, like, you know, well, why not? Why not throw that out there? By the way, I want to mention because see it in the chat as well. The opening day celebration, the Kershaw first pitch, you know, and ring celebration was very cool as well. So shout out to that. That was certainly well done. So turn our attention though to what's coming up the next few days. The Cleveland Guardians are in town, and Greg, it's Roki Sasaki on the mound tonight. So
I'm trying to figure out what I think is going to happen. Like, is it what I truly believe is going to happen, or what I pretty much know is going to happen? Because Roki has been nothing but a disaster in spring training, and now he doesn't have the added benefit of being able to come out of the game and go back into the game like you can do in spring training. So I just want to see him throw strikes. Like, even if he gets pounded, I just want to see him put the ball over the plate and not walk guys. I think that's the first step. If he gives up 6 runs, like, that's going to suck. But at the same time, that means he's putting the ball over the plate. And that, because one thing you can't do in baseball, it's the walks. The walks kill you. They kill your confidence. They kill the team. Things happen when guys get on bases because of walks. So just find the plate, show, and really throw your fastball and throw it lower. Like, stop with the high strike. Try and go for that low fastball. Try and do some things a little bit different. I just want to see him be more comfortable. And now, look, it can very well happen. Spring training doesn't mean everything. Teo was fantastic, destroying the ball in spring training, and he has been a disaster at the plate. I'm not worried about him, but the fact that going from spring training to regular season can be different. So Roki is it's going to be interesting tonight. Just throw strikes, Roki. That's it.
I mean, I think that's the thing, Jeff, is just throw strikes at the moment, because that was the thing he struggled with the most. The fastball, he had no command, and I'd love for him to be able to pinpoint. I just want him to hit the strike zone right now.
Yeah. Well, and the Guardians are a team that Roki faced in spring training, and every team knows that this guy has struggled to throw strikes. So when Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez and these guys get into the box, they're not going to be in the business of helping Roki Sasaki out by chasing. If they see splitter, they're going to just watch it go right past, believing it's going to fall below the zone. And they're just going to sit on the fastball and say, until you throw me a fastball for a strike, I'm not going to swing. And so whether or not he can do that, I think is going to be the make or break. As Greg said, he got pulled early from every single start in spring training. Twice he did not record a single out before coming out of the game. One of those was against the Guardians, where he walks the bases loaded and then gives up the grand slam. And so I don't think it's going to be that bad tonight. It almost can't. Like, that feels like, how could it possibly be like 4 walks and no outs? And yet, like, anybody who says they think it's for sure going to be better, I appreciate and respect the optimism. I'm a naturally optimistic person. I just don't think we've been given any reason to believe that's going to be what happens tonight. So my hope is that he can get through 3 innings. Like you guys said, I'm honestly not really that worried about how many hits and how many earned runs he ends up giving up. It's how many walks. It's what's the percentage of pitches that land in the zone. Can it be higher than 1 out of every 3, please? Can we have less than 4 walks, please? If those 2 things happen, then I'm not going to say I'm going to be happy, but it will at least be a step in the right direction.
I mean, this really feels like taking it inning by inning with Roki.
Yeah.
I mean, like, ideally he can get through 3. I mean, hell, if he can get through 4, that'd be grand. But this just feels like you got through the first inning, great, do it again. You know, you got through the second inning. All right, we'll see if you can give us 1 more. I think that kind of has to be the goal right now with Roki, because again, the spring was not great. So hopefully he can turn some things around. a lineup that did not hit particularly well in Seattle over the weekend. Some of that, though, I think can be attributed to Mariner pitching being very, very good. So we'll see how they handle things down here in Los Angeles for the next few days. But you mentioned some of the guys at the top. I mean, when you got Jose Ramirez, when you got Stephen Kwan, apparently we have Chase DeLauder, who is the greatest thing that has happened to baseball since, I don't know, spin rates. I don't know. So it's hard hit rates, maybe X Banana, anything? Bueller?
Yeah, X Banana. It is. Their X Banana is extraordinarily high. But are either of you worried about the pitching staff at all? Like, is there any part of you that's now thinking, if let's say Roki is who we think Roki is going to be tonight, and you saw Emmett Sheehan on Friday, and that's not something that's great, then now you have 2 of your 5 starters, which are supposed to be this great part of it. You have 3 really good ones too. Obviously, you still have Yamamoto, you still have Glasnow, you still have Shohei, who hasn't pitched yet, but you're not worried about that. Does that worry you at all that those 2, and not especially with Gavin Stone not coming in for the next 2 months, Robleski could always step in. There's other River Ryan could come up. There's stuff that could happen, but those 2, how long can you stick with them at the beginning of the season if they continue to struggle?
I would say with Sheehan, I think separating Roki and Sheehan from the same box is necessary. I've been surprised at how many people are, and you're not saying this, Greg, but how many people are just like ready to just like dump Emmett Sheehan, like this guy stinks, get rid of him. And I'm like reading the comments. I'm like, did anybody remember last year when he made 15 appearances, 12 of them starts, and had a 2.8 ERA? Like, can we press pause on the guy that, if the Detroit Tigers called because Tarek Skubal was available, Emmett Sheehan would be the very first person that they would probably start asking for. So can we, like, I understand it was not great for Emmett Sheehan. I understand the velocity concerns, all of those things. But let's be patient with Emmett Sheehan before we decide that, like, he is or isn't something. If he's hurt, that's majorly concerning. If he's not hurt, if they're able to figure out the velocity thing, like, he's going to be way more than fine. So that piece is there. I think the Roki stuff, obviously, we've beat this one personally, like on our show. Like, yeah, it's really concerning, but like Robleski's right there. He's been awesome. River Ryan at some point will be up. He's been great. So, and then Blake Snell's going to be back. So I'm not ready to be there yet, because right now Roki's the only guy I'm like truly concerned about. But if Sheehan's velocity doesn't come back, if Sheehan ends up being injured, then I think it becomes a conversation about, hey, there's maybe less of margin for error here than we originally thought.
Yeah, I think I'm with Jeff on that one. I'm not so concerned about Sheehan, just curious. I think is probably the best way to describe it, seeing what is happening right now. Roki, tonight's going to be interesting. Certainly hoping for the best, but kind of holding my breath and preparing for what could be another rocky start from him. But hey, look, if he sort of gets this thing together, then I think we're completely on the opposite side of this, right? Yeah. I mean, if you get 3, you get 4 solid innings out of Roki tonight, then I think you look around and you say, all right, look, we can stabilize this it's funny, stabilize this rotation as though it's some sort of an issue, but you can you can sort of
you only have 4 number 1 starters, okay?
That's it. It's not enough. But you can stabilize this rotation. You can get him through a few turns. If Sheehan can figure out the velocity, then you're on the flip side of this, where it's like, hey, we're cruising along into May, waiting for Blake Snell to come back. Knowing that you still have a Robo, that you still have a River Ryan, you still have those guys available to you, just in case you need some extra arms in there. So this is a pivot point tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how things go.
The last thing that was for me is that Tanner Scott has looked good, and the bullpen has looked really good. You did mention how they was 11 2/3 or whatever amount of innings they had where they were scoreless, but the fact was that Tanner Scott and Blake Trinan were both good in their appearances. So those 2 being good, that's the guy that we've all said it over and over again, that Tanner Scott was going to be back to who he was, or hopefully at least. But so, I mean, is there anything where, is it the same kind of thing? The early season looking good? What have you seen, Jeff, that thinks, okay, this is sustainable from those 2?
I think with Scott, we've seen it before, right? Like, I know last year as Dodgers fans, we haven't seen him put it all together in a Dodger uniform, but he was one of the best relief pitchers in all of Major League Baseball for multiple years before they signed him. And so those types of players, it doesn't take nearly as much for me to just be in on and saying, all right, Tanner Scott, we're back, good to go. Now it's like he's recorded 4 outs. So as we're all saying, it's small sample sizes. They're also the only sample sizes we have in 2026 right now. So we do what we can with what we have. But yeah, I think it's super encouraging to see the start he's had, and hopefully it's a confidence builder, and hopefully it's a trend, the beginning of a trend.
Yeah, I definitely hope so. Again, like the goal is to figure out how to get the ball to Edwin Diaz in the 9th, and so far they have been successful in doing that. The trust tree has a lot of people at the top after 3 games in late March, so hopefully it's
very bushy tree.
Very bushy tree, exactly.
Ex-bananas all over the place.
just dropping to the ground, ex-bananas left and right. All right, that feels like a good spot for us to break. Jeff, I know you guys have been doing live shows post-game. Are you continuing that trend? What's the latest?
Yes, there? Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, Sunday nights, we are live, all 3 of those. And sometimes we do a random one. So stay tuned. Who knows? Monday night, Roki Sasaki on the mound. We might try and do a live show after tonight. So just stay tuned to see if we end up doing that. You can find Dodger Blue 1958 on YouTube. If you subscribe, ring the notification bell, you'll get a heads up anytime we go live. But Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, Fabian Ardaya was on with us last night. So if you can find that YouTube or podcast, and he'll be back on with us Thursday night, another off day on Thursday, Greg. So be warned about that.
But during the week is fine. Totally fine.
Just no Sundays.
I actually appreciate during the week. The Sunday bothers me.
The Sunday ones. All right, cool. Well, we are not going to be off this week. We'll be back tomorrow for another edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. Stick around. The Sedano Cat Morning Extravaganza on its way, so stay tuned for that. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to Tim and Brooke for production assistance. Thanks to Jeff Spiegel for setting his alarm for 5:30 and getting up with us to hang out on a Monday morning. So that'll do it for this edition of the Blue Review presented by LAX. For Jeff, for Greg, I am Marcus. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 to 6:55, right here on the ESPN LA YouTube channel. We'll see you.
See you.